All right, hey, welcome to Forecasting with Friends here on Fox Local. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Iskowitz. I think we have a great show for you, really spanning a lot of different topics. We're going to start off here in just a moment with a brand new state-of-the-art weather satellite that's going to be launched into orbit today. And to help sort of explain what it is, I was sort of scavenging around the station and I found a Fox 26 beach ball that is going to represent planet Earth. See, Nate's looking at me like, what's going on here? So that's going to represent planet Earth. Nate Griffin here joining me. So we have that coming up, and then, and Nate and Ruben, all here in the newsroom, myself included, we're going to have a segment about how to take care of your hair in all of this humidity. So mainly for the ladies or guys with long hair. All right, so hey, thanks so much for joining us here on Fox Local. Earlier this morning, well, let me just tell you, later on this afternoon, a SpaceX rocket, Falcon Heavy rocket, is set to launch from Cape Canaveral and the Kennedy Space Center. They are going to be the unmanned, of course, spaceship is going to be carrying a new satellite into space. The satellite is called GOES-U. And we're going to explain what GOES means as we take a look back at an interview that I did with a terrific, brilliant guy named Kevin Fryer. And he is with NOAA. In fact, he's at the top of their satellite division. He's basically in charge of launching these things out into space. And this is an interview recorded earlier from Houston's morning show. Let's check it out. It's a big, big day in the world of meteorology, especially satellite meteorology. And we're talking about the newest, latest, and greatest geostationary satellite, which is called GOES-U. And it's going to launch today. And so joining us is the man who probably knows more about it than anybody else. This is Kevin Fryer, who is the Chief of Staff of the Office of GOES Satellites. And Kevin, it's an honor to talk to you. And thank you for your service in the U.S. Air Force as well. GOES-U, okay, so we have a lot of these geostationary satellites. In fact, folks at home, that's what I use to show you all the satellite loops out in the Atlantic Ocean. What's up with the newest, latest, and greatest GOES satellite?
Well, one, thank you for utilizing that satellite because that satellite footage, because that's what it's for. It's for meteorologists to be able to provide to the public an awareness of where weather conditions are the worst, and for your forecast to inform them and basically have them remain safe. So our satellite's going to be launched in a geostationary satellite position where it's able to actually see all of the Americas, North America in particular, and the Atlantic Basin.
Now, for folks that might not know, we have two primary ones we use now, guys. So there's one that looks at the Atlantic Ocean and the East Coast. The other looks at the Pacific Ocean and the West Coast. Where is this new one going to be situated?
All right, so this one's going to go into position for east, and the current east one will slide into a storage position. It's going to be on the East Coast, and that will allow us to, at this time of the year, really be able to track all the hurricanes that we're going to be looking at with the named storms that we have already. So its job will be not only looking at the East Coast, but also looking at the Caribbean and all of the Atlantic.
Okay, so when we talk about the cameras and the imagers that are on this new piece of equipment, how are they different from what we have up there right now?
So fortunately, this satellite is one of four. The third one that we did launch earlier in the year will be moving into the storage position once this one goes up and also moves into its operational position. It's going to be very much the same. The good news about this particular imager or this particular satellite is it will come with a new addition, which is called the C-Core, the compact coronagraph. As you can hopefully remember back to when we had the eclipse and we had the aurora borealis, this particular satellite will be able to have a sun pointing instrument that's going to be very new and also incredibly informative. It will likely be as informative as the ABI or the imager that looks down on us for hazardous weather as it will look for hazardous weather from the sun.
When one of the previous GOES was launched, the one that's GOES West right now, I think from what I remember, there was a problem with the cooling system on it, right? And so sometimes it would periodically go down. So folks, you have to realize, like, if they only sent one up there and it just decided to not work anymore, we'd be up the creek, right? So we definitely got to have two up there on each side.
Absolutely, and thank you for bringing that point up because that's exactly what it is. Because when we say operational, that's the point that we're trying to relay not only to the public but to anyone that listens and understands. Because in order to have an operational system, you have to have a level of redundancy. And unfortunately, in the early 1900s, we did go without satellite capability, and we lost a lot of lives in Southeast Texas. So we don't want to ever have to go through that experience again. And as a result of that, we do have what we call a constellation of satellites. With two, we have the capability of seeing the east and the west coast. And if the one were to go down, we can actually orient the other one in order to cover the entire basically continent of the United States, and then we'll be able to move, hopefully at some point in time, then the one that's in storage into the more operational position of the one that failed. So we do have a level of redundancy because we know how important weather is to all of us.
All right, so awesome. All right, Mr. Fryer, thank you so much, guys. And of course, what he was referring to was the Great Galveston Hurricane of 1900. Of course, back then we didn't have satellites taking pictures of the clouds to warn us that hurricanes were coming. And so we're actually very fortunate to live in this day and age. I want to talk about what GOES means. So we were just talking to Mr. Fryer about GOES. GOES, meteorology, I'm telling you, it's filled with acronyms. We love acronyms. So GOES stands for Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite. And right now we have 3 of them that are in operation. We have 2 of them that are covering the West Coast. We have 1 of them that's covering the East Coast. This is going to be the backup system. Well, this is going to be the new system covering the East Coast, and the one that's there now is going to turn into the backup system. Geostationary is a very fancy and confusing sounding term, but it really isn't. Geo means Earth, and like geography, geology, right? Geo is Earth, and stationary means not moving. So the Fox 26 beach ball is going to represent our home, the Earth. Okay, so of course the Earth rotates once per day, okay, once every 24 hours. Now, if you were to put a satellite, let's say that this is Texas, and we want to make sure that we could look at the clouds and all of the weather patterns over Texas 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, all right? If we were, let's say, in the International Space Station, that wouldn't work because the ISS is in low Earth orbit, and so it orbits around the planet several times per day. Well, that's not very good for taking pictures of the clouds because you're whizzing by too fast, and if you wanted to see what's happening right now, you might be all the way on the other side of the Earth. So that's not good. So what we do is we send the satellite, which is so this is the Earth, this Sharpie is the satellite. We send it very far away from the Earth, surprisingly far, okay? About 22,000 miles away. It's almost 1/10 of the way to the moon. So it actually is very far away. So we have this satellite that's this far away, and the reason that it has to be this far away is that its orbit around the Earth now is once every 24 hours, okay? So if you have the Earth that spins once every 24 hours, and now you have this satellite that's going to spin around the Earth once every 24 hours, well, guess what? Now we could set the satellite up here so that it is always pointing at the exact same spot on the Earth's surface. And so coming up at the end of the program here, about 11:25 or so, we're going to check out what's happening in the tropics. We're actually going to use the GOES East satellite that is over the east coast of the U.S. and over the Atlantic Ocean right now that is going to be providing us pictures of the clouds, and there are a few different ways that it does that. It uses a regular camera, which gives us what's called visible satellite imagery, just like you would take with your iPhone, only 22,000 miles away. It also has imagers that sense infrared light, which is temperature. So it looks for cold temperatures, it looks for warm temperatures. The cold temperatures will allow us to see cloud cover. It can also detect radiation that's being given off by the Earth, and by that we call it like the skin temperature of the Earth. So you can tell, that's how they do a lot of the studies about the Earth warming, you know, for example. And it also measures output coming from the sun. So that's the GOES satellite. And by the way, we didn't discuss this there, but there's another program called POSE, okay, which is the Polar Orbiting Environmental Satellite. Now, POSE is different. A geostationary means that it's always pointed at the same part of the Earth. The POSE are solar stationary, meaning that the sun is always behind them. So they orbit around the Earth this way, all right? And the Earth, of course, spins underneath the satellite like that, all right? So it takes strips, it gives you and by the way, it's closer to the Earth, about 900 miles above the ground or so. And so it can take higher resolution, closer up pictures, but it delivers it in strips, just like this beach ball. And so you can get really, really high res views of things like forest fires and effects that are happening in the ocean, dust plumes and things like that, that you can get at a much higher resolution than you could with that satellite that's 22,000 miles away, but you can only get it in strips like this because it goes around too often. So that's just a exciting thing that's happening later on today. The launch was scrubbed this past April, so we're hoping to get this thing up into orbit, and it does take a few weeks to get it set up into orbit and to get it online before they put this one as the operational satellite and the other goes east as the backup satellite. All right, so that's it for the really cool satellite stuff. Coming up next, we're actually going to talk with a hair expert. Hair on Forecasting with Friends, you better believe it, because the humidity that's out there right now means business, and we're going to tell you the secret to keeping your hair looking great in humidity like this. See you in a couple minutes.
Fox 26 is your Gulf Coast weather authority. And while our area is vast,
this storm could bring widespread flooding and dangerous winds to our
forecasting zeroes in.
These storm cells over the ship channel are particularly dangerous.
From your community.
Memorial Park is getting hammered right now with heavy downpours.
Right down to your neighborhood streets.
We're starting to see the water rise along Buffalo Bayou.
It's hyper-local coverage from your Gulf Coast weather authority, only on Fox 26. Fox 26 News at 9. Our breaking bond reports hold judges accountable.
A 20-year-old charged with manslaughter.
The News Edge at 10. Your clues help find the missing.
Her son never made it to his
investigations that get results. Weeknights on Fox 26. Engaging and shareable. Visit the Fox 26 Houston Facebook page. Need a legal question answered? Fox 26 legal expert Chris Tritico can help.
But this may be a pretty sizable claim that your sister has.
Just send your legal questions to fox26law@fox.com. Then tune into Houston's morning show every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 a.m. to hear your questions answered. The news doesn't stop on weekends.
We're learning more details about a story we first brought you yesterday morning.
And neither do we.
But as we head throughout the afternoon, that's when the rain starts moving in from the southwest.
Fox 26 Morning News Weekends with Denise Middleton.
Well, now to a story you'll see only on Fox. The family of a beloved bartender in North.
And meteorologist Allison Gargaro.
Right now, we are seeing some of the heaviest rain start to push off to our
Fox 26 Morning News Weekends, Saturdays and Sundays beginning at 5 a.m.
The Fox 26 Weather app with more features in one easy-to-use screen. Current weather at a glance, high-resolution interactive radar, severe weather alerts, video forecasts, and much more. It's the power of your Gulf Coast weather authority in the palm of your hand. The Fox 26 Weather app. Download it today.
The Fox 26 YouTube page, your home for the best Fox 26 has to offer. The latest news.
Good evening, I'm Caroline Collins. Topping the rundown.
Our most popular local programs like the Isaiah Factor Uncensored.
Why the hell are so many people burnt out?
And stories you may have missed from series like Breaking Bond.
The quicker we get a grasp on what's happening.
Sullivan Smart Sense and The Missing.
Please pick up the phone and call the police. Remember, you can remain anonymous.
The Fox 26 YouTube page. Like and subscribe today.
Now, I know what you all are asking. It's an obvious question. Mike, how do you keep your hair looking so silky and under control in humidity like this? Well, I can't really give away my secrets, but we did want to consult, in all seriousness, a hair expert. And so joining us via Zoom right now is Carrie Hinton, who's the proprietor of Vita Mutari Salon. Well, Carrie, you're wearing a hat. What does that mean?
Well, I just put the hat on because I traveled yesterday from Nashville from a hair show. So, but I was asked to do this, and I thought, yep, I've got to go and let everybody know all the tips.
Well, no, it looks super cool. So, stepping outside today and pretty much for the rest of the summer, you know, it is heat, it's humidity, and oh my gosh, especially first thing in the morning, it's like you're wet when you step outside. What effect does that have on people's hair? What do you hear the most?
So Houston is going to have high humidity all the time, and it's worse on rainy days. So the biggest tip that I tell my clients is don't worry about blow drying your hair thoroughly in the very back, the underneath area, because nobody sees that, right? And when you think that you've finished styling your hair completely, blow dry it just for 5 minutes longer on the front and on the top section. That's the biggest key, really, because hair has a memory, and it's going to lock in the frizz if you've set the frizz into the hair and it's dried that way, or if you finish polishing out your blow dry and it's completely dry, you step out into the humidity, it's going to stay smooth and silky looking. So that's the biggest tip.
Okay, so is that the kind of skill that one can develop? I mean, because I think it does take coordination, doesn't it? Look, I have a house full of women. My wife, I have 3 daughters, and they do the thing with the brush and with the hair dryer and all that. I mean, that takes some coordination, doesn't it? It takes like some level of dedication. Is there a shortcut to it?
Honestly, most of the time, what I tell my clients is to power dry their hair or to let it air dry with, I don't know if you've seen those turby towels that basically they wrap around the head and they lock in the front. Those are really great before you actually, like, say you get out of the shower and you're going to do, like women are going to do their makeup. You put one of those turby towels on until you're ready to blow dry the hair. That way the frizz doesn't set into the hair previously, because once the frizz is set in, hair is like, it has a memory, right? So it's going to set that frizz in. The only way to erase that is going to be to re-wet it, either with water, and you can use like a water misting bottle that you can get on Amazon. They're inexpensive. Or you can use a product that's going to re-moisten the hair or re-wet the hair. You can use 2 different products that I pulled for today. One of them, and I don't know if you can see this, it's called One United by Redken. And the other product is called The Shield, and it's by Amika. Both of those product lines work on all textured hair, and you can use them wet or dry. So second day hair, you can spray these on and then restyle. And that makes it like take on a new shape or a new form. They also have heat protectants in them for up to 450 degrees, as well as they lock out humidity for 24 hours. So using products like that just to start the foundation of your styling is huge. And then there's several tools on the market too that can also help you. If you finished out your blow dry and it's almost completely dry, but you're not really sure if you've set it completely dry, you can put in a Velcro roller and just let it air dry the rest of the way. If you have really kinky curly hair, you can also prep with One United and spray the hair really well and use the tip of your tail comb and wrap that hair around the curls that are frizzy and then slide the comb off. That kind of tip for really curly hair can help, or even utilizing your finger or a pencil. Little tricks like that can make a big difference.
Very, very neat. Well, we know that you do good work here, and you know what you're talking about because Melissa Wilson just came by to say hi, and her hair looks amazing. Let me ask you this: you have a guest with you, don't you? I mean, I kind of can see a little bit. Maybe she could kind of. Can she give us a little example of what perfect silky hair looks like? Of course, little kids always have the best hair, don't they?
I'm laughing because she has really wavy hair and she has really short pieces around the face. But what I was going to tell you is that if you utilize a Velcro roller, you could do something like that and just pop that in the hair just right after you've done your blow dry. You can do something like that. Her hair also is wavy, like I said. So there are days that like maybe she doesn't want to style her hair. If you'll braid the hair down the sides like this at night after you've let it air dry for just a little bit with, like, say, One United spray that in, and then just French braid the hair down both sides. And then when you wake up in the morning, take the braids out, loosen that up, and it gives it a beautiful wave in the hair. So there's tricks like that you can do at home that make a big difference. They also make all kinds of really interesting tools like sponges that you can take the hair like this and wrap the hair around the sponge and sleep with them at night. That also helps to give you just a little bit of body in the morning when you wake up. So just little tricks like that. I know that there's some tools on the market too that are like a round brush blow dryer all in one. And almost every brand out there makes one now. So Amica has stuff like that. There's a lot of other product lines like Hot Tools makes one that's really popular. Just make sure that if you're utilizing a tool like that, that you have a heat protectant product that you're putting in your hair. And that product that I was suggesting, that One United, is great because it's going to defrizz, smooth, heat protectant, detangling spray. It's detangling conditioning, lightweight conditioning spray. So it works on all textures of hair too, whether or not you have some curly or fine. So
Well,
try it out.
I hope this has been very educational, everybody. If anybody maybe wanted to follow up with a question for you, because maybe
Oh, they
maybe
can
there's
message
probably
me.
a few questions out there that I just don't know people would want to ask because, where can they contact you? I know you're with Vita Mutari Salon, but can people contact you? How can they get in touch with you?
They can contact me through Instagram on Vita Mutari Salon, and I'll reply to them. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Carrie, thank you so much, and thanks to your little assistant there for demonstrating what to do with wavy hair and all this stuff. So hopefully people were taking note, because I tell you what, this forecast is not getting any drier anytime soon. Carrie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Mike.
All right. Well, coming up after the break here on Forecasting with Friends, we're going to do some forecasting, and I'll tell you what to expect for the days to come.
Fox 26 is your Gulf Coast Weather Authority. And while our area is vast,
this storm could bring widespread flooding and dangerous winds to our entire...
Our forecasting zeroes in.
These storm cells over the ship channel are particularly dangerous.
From your community.
Memorial Park is getting hammered right now with heavy downpours.
Right down to your neighborhood streets.
We're starting to see the water rise along Buffalo Bayou.
It's hyper-local coverage from your Gulf Coast Weather Authority. Only on Fox 26. Fox 26 News at 9. Our breaking bond reports hold judges accountable.
A 20-year-old charged with manslaughter.
The News Edge at 10. Your clues help find the missing.
Her son never made it to his
Investigations that get results. Weeknights on Fox 26. Engaging and shareable. Visit the Fox 26 Houston Facebook page. Need a legal question answered? Fox 26 legal expert Chris Tritico can help.
But this may be a pretty sizable claim that your sister has.
Just send your legal questions to fox26law@fox.com. Then tune into Houston's morning show every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 a.m. to hear your questions answered. The news doesn't stop on weekends.
We're learning more details about a story we first brought you yesterday morning.
And neither do we.
As we head throughout the afternoon, that's when the rain starts moving in from the southwest.
Fox 26 Morning News Weekends with Denise Middleton.
Well, now to a story you'll see only on Fox. The family of a beloved bartender in North.
And meteorologist Allison Gargaro.
Right now, we are seeing some of the heaviest rain start to push off to our...
Fox 26 Morning News Weekends, Saturdays and Sundays beginning at 5 a.m.
The Fox 26 Weather app with more features in one easy-to-use screen. Current weather at a glance, high-resolution interactive radar, severe weather alerts, video forecasts, and much more. It's the power of your Gulf Coast Weather Authority in the palm of your hand. The Fox 26 Weather app. Download it today.
The Fox 26 YouTube page, your home for the best Fox 26 has to offer. The latest news.
Good evening, I'm Caroline Collins. Topping the rundown.
Our most popular local programs like the Isaiah Factor Uncensored.
Why the hell are so many people burned out?
And stories you may have missed from series like Breaking Bond.
The quicker we get a grasp on what's happening.
Sullivan Smart Sense and The Missing.
Please pick up the phone and call the police. Remember, you can remain anonymous.
The Fox 26 YouTube page. Like and subscribe today.
Well, we have run the gamut, haven't we, here on Forecasting with Friends, from satellite and outer space to dealing with frizzy hair. I hope that we've educated you a little bit, and I'll tell you, it is going to be a day in which you might want to stay inside and maybe just read a book, learn something on the phone in the air-conditioned confines of your own home or office, because This is what we have outside right now, guys. If you haven't stepped outside, it's definitely very pretty, no doubt about that. The clouds not producing that much in the way of rain right now, although yes, there are a few showers, but read these numbers here. Now at 11:25, the current time, our temperature is 90 degrees. That's the Hobby Airport temperature, so pretty representative of what we're seeing around Pasadena, city of South Houston, those spots. South wind at 10, and that's carrying in very humid air with a 76-degree dew point. That gives us a current heat index at Hobby of 101, but boy, is it worse elsewhere. Right now, the heat index for Sugar Land, for example, is an incredible 106 degrees. So yeah, yikes on that one. We also have 106 for a current heat index value for Galveston Island, and we're approaching that up here. Tomball, 104 degrees. That's, you know, the so-called feels like temperature. And for those of you, and I know there are a lot of you, it's like, don't tell me how to feel. I don't want the feels like temperature. Just tell me the actual temperature. Well, here they are. 90 degrees at both airports here in Houston and Pearland. Good late morning to you. Winds out of the south at 10, 89 degrees. Galveston is also 89. Little bit of a breeze there. And up to the north, Conroe 89. Huntsville also at 89 right now. Now, you know, I've been kind of focusing a lot on beach weather lately. You know, we spent all of yesterday, in fact, on this program talking about rip current safety. And today, the risk for rip currents is actually just a little bit lower. Now, keep in mind, it's not zero. There still is a hazard out there, but the caution flags are mainly yellow because we've had lighter winds in general. The UV index is extreme. Remember, that's the variety of light that burns your skin. And so that's in the extreme category today. High temperature down there, we're actually getting close to that high. We're 89 now. We'll top out around 90, maybe 91. Here's a look at what's happening in the tropics. Again, we're using that GOES satellite, the geostationary satellite, which we call GOES East. And we're using that right now to check out what's happening in the Gulf, and there's not that much happening out there. We are tracking a tropical wave that's right in the middle of your screen right now. That tropical wave is moving over pretty warm water in the Caribbean Sea, and it'll have a decent chance of developing into a tropical depression, but it's nowhere near us right now, and it's probably not going to happen that quickly. But we will, of course, monitor this. It's going to be moving over water here. I have the water temperatures here plotted, 84 to 85 degrees. So it really is quite warm down there in the Caribbean, which it usually is, of course. Here's the latest look at the GFS computer model. So this is the model that we use for our sort of longer term forecasting. I'm just going to draw a line right there. That's basically where the trough is located. What we would call a tropical wave is located right around there. And then I'll put this in motion here so we can see where this thing is headed as it moves past Jamaica, makes its way toward the Yucatan Peninsula coming up around Saturday. And then we'll keep an eye on things here heading into Sunday. I mean, right now, the GFS has been showing actually high pressure that you'll see spinning clockwise there around the Houston area. In that case, it looks like we would maybe have some storms before this one that might be forming along a front, but that would push it to the south. It really would. We're just at the beginning of what's likely to be a very busy hurricane season, guys. We have Alberto checked off, and Beryl might be potentially something that we'll have forming early next week. We'll keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, I want to thank you for joining us here for Forecasting with Friends. See you right back here tomorrow at 11.